Hi everybody, it's Heidi here. Can everyone see me? There I am. Hello, welcome back to another Costume Co stream. So great to see everybody. How are you today? Just want to say hello and welcome. Hi Aaron, how are you? Aaron is our moderator, but today we're going to look at some of Aaron's costumes that he's sent me. So this is going to be really fun. And today we've got a new person named Beauty. Oh, sorry, hold on a second. I've got some feedback. Hold on. Hold on just one second. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. Okay, so Beauty in DeBerg is new. And she says, hi, Costume Co. Her real name's Heather, though. And it's her first time in the chat. We've also got Aaron is here. So we've got you two. So anyway, Beauty in DeBerg says, hi, that's my sister's name, Heidi. So her name is Heather. And my name is Heidi, of course. So that's pretty cool, right? All right. So does everything look okay, guys? Like on your end, I hope. So what we're going to do today is I've put together some pictures that Aaron has sent me. Aaron is one of my earliest, supporters. He's been watching the channel since I first began. And Tatiana, who is another viewer, she was actually here on our Wednesday stream. She's also, I'm going to be featuring some of her costumes, but she couldn't come today because she has to work. So I do have a few of her things that I could just show you guys just as an example. But for the most part, we're going to concentrate on Aaron. And then after that, if you guys have any questions, we can do that. So how's everybody's weekend going so far? Hope it's good. I actually had a nice day today. It's been really weird. If any of you don't know, I live in Toronto, Canada. And a couple of weeks ago, we had a nice storm. And it was really bizarre because what happened was, the city just kind of got shut down. It got very, very cold. We had the driving conditions were really terrible. And then yesterday we had this crazy sort of rainstorm and like crazy actual wind that kind of plagued the city. And one man was even killed. So it was a really, really enormous storm. So what happened today is we went up for a really lovely walk and we saw actually one of the trees that had been down. So a lot of trees were down in our city. So who else is here? We've got Sarah Scott is here. Hello, I finally made a live stream. Hi, Sarah. And Samayed is here as well. Samayed Sand, hi. And Jason's here, doing it with Jason's here. So Jason is one of my fellow creators. The other thing I want to say, guys, about the weather, because of it, my hair is like really frizzy. Like it's so humid here in Toronto. So I'm having a little bit of hair issues if you're wondering what's happening with my hair. Okay. And Angel Over is here as well. Hi. And Flash in Your Pan is also here. And so is 30 Day Review. So we got a nice group in here tonight. That's awesome. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. So what we're going to do is this again, I've been mentioning to you that I keep learning new technology. So last time I did this stream, we had this really great guest named Kristen Jones on the show, and she's a cosplayer, costumer, and she makes costumes. And so what we did with her is we went through her pictures, and I did that through, you guys, I don't know if any of you know this, but I did it through OBS. And today I'm going to try to do it through PowerPoint. So, this is so crazy. Even though I went to theater school for technical theater, I'm like probably I'm one of the least technical people you can imagine. And yet, here I am. If you had asked me a year ago if I ever would have live streamed, I would have said, no, absolutely not. And here I am live streaming. But if some of you don't know this about me, I used to have a costume business and I actually had a store and people could come into the store and I did custom orders, but I also sold ready-made costumes like Star Wars and so on. And then someone had suggested that we do an e-commerce site. And I thought, well, I'm never going to do an e-commerce site. That's just crazy. And then we were one of the first companies in Canada to actually sell costumes online. So there you go. You never say never. And I also just want to welcome, I've got a new addition to my collection over here. How do I do this? This little guy up here. See? I stole this from my son. It's a Darth Vader. It was May the 4th Star Wars Day yesterday. So I've added him in. He's actually like just a little gum, like a candy dispenser that we got at the Dollar Tree. So I've just added him in there. So I just want to make a note of that. He's added to the collection. And also, just so you guys know, we're going to try this out, but this monitor here behind me, some of the pictures we're going to show on there. So let's see how that works. So let's go to it and see what happens. So things might blow up here, guys. Hopefully not. So what we're going to do is go here, and then it should go to my logo. So I'm just going to check with you if everybody sees the logo in the background. My phone just shut off here. So does everybody see the logo in the background? I'm going to go to the first slide, see what happens. Okay, there should be a picture of a costume. Does anybody see that? Doing what Jason says, I made a costume for my kids a while ago. It was a character from Yo Gabba Gabba. Oh, I know Yo Gabba Gabba. I love that show. My son used to really like that, Jason. Tribal Wolf Team says, this is a great channel. Good content every time. Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice. So does everybody see this? Yeah, Erin says yeah. So what this picture is, Tatiana, she's one of my viewers. She sent this to me. So these, I just have a few of her costumes here. She's not here today, but I am going to come back and show you guys these probably in a couple of weeks. Her and I are just trying to work out a day that she won't be working. So this is her bell. It's so pretty. But we're going to start with Aaron and all of his stuff. And Jack is here, and he's giving me the thumbs up. That everything looks good. Okay, so Aaron, this is your costume. And Aaron's in the chat. He's actually one of my mods, so he can, you know, if you guys have any questions about this. And Aaron, if I get any of this wrong, you can just tell me. This is a, what is this one, Aaron? This one is a Sleeping Beauty costume, I'm pretty sure. Am I right, Aaron? Is this a Sleeping Beauty? So what happened is Aaron and I sort of met online a couple of years ago, and he started emailing me. I had asked people if they wanted to send submissions. Well, actually, not in a year and a half ago, probably. Yeah, a year and a half ago. And he started emailing me all of these beautiful creations. So here's this one here. This one I think he sent to me. Aaron's going to have to correct me on this or not. About probably a year ago, I think. Am I right, Aaron? He can tell me in the description if I'm correct in the chat. So this one here. So this is the this one is the Sleeping Beauty costume, Aaron, I believe. I don't have the description on this. So guys, just so you know, all of these costumes, what's happened is as Aaron's been sending them to me, I've created a Facebook page that has a photo album that has all of these costumes in it. So if any of you ever want to send me some pictures, the first thing is I usually do is I'll try and feature it in a video, which is what I've done with Aaron. And then the next thing that will happen, it will go into a really nice photo album on Facebook. Now this one, Aaron, this is a more recent one. This one is an evil queen. I believe this is version number 1. And this is the skirt he's done. So I'm going to show you guys the pictures that he sent me here. Hopefully everybody can see these. And then Aaron, if you want to add to anything. But what I have is, so if this is version number 2. So he says here, the bodice is cut with princess seams and the collar is in a teardrop style fashion and is slim style with an A style skirt, and also the shoulders and upper arms are gathered and pleated. The underskirts are the same as the first version of the Evil Queen dress. The petticoat is a 5-layer silk and stiff chiffon. He didn't tell me how long this took him to make it though. So I'm just going to check what Aaron's saying here. Aaron, what are you saying here? He's just welcoming everybody. See, he's ignoring the slideshow of his costumes. So Beauty in DeBerg says, Aaron, this is beautiful. That's really, really nice. Laura D says, are we definitely live here? Laugh out loud. Laura D said, that was weird. I don't know what's going on, guys. Ha ha ha. We're not a day early for this one. Oh, and then so Tribal Wolf Team wants to know, what fabric would that be? Aaron, what kind of fabric is this? Is this silk? And then here's the full look here entirely. It's got the underskirt. If anybody's just joining in, I'm doing a slideshow of Aaron's costumes that he sent me. Aaron LaFay, he's our lovely mod in the chat right now. He says it is organza chiffon and it took only 5 hours. That's incredible. And this is version number 2. And then we're going to look at version number 1 in a moment. So there's that one. And then he's got some close-ups. But then I think this one, Erin, is this one not Evil Queen version number 1? Hi, Chrissy. Chrissy of Oldstone says, hi, Heidi. Hello, how are you? Hi, Laura. And so this one, version number one, says the bodice of the dress is cut into a deep V, and the breast portion of it is pleated, and the waist is pointed upward and is boned, and the skirt is cut into a circle design. The skirt is made up of 10 yards of sheer organza material, and it has an overlay detachable train of 5 yards of the same fabric. And the crinoline cage, which is this, is made of silk and reinforced with cotton and is covered with light silk and an overlay of nylon chiffon. And I always notice that when Aaron's making his costumes, or at least when he puts them on the mannequin, it's always in his dining room. So I often wonder how that all works with when it comes to mealtime. If he has to push them out of the way, like here, you can see the dining room chairs. So Aaron, did you get in a lot of trouble for having all of your costume bits and everything all around? I'm not sure if you have a dedicated studio or if you're just taking the pictures here. It is, yes, laugh out loud, a queen must have many designs. Yeah, he did 2 versions. And everyone's saying, what? Tribal Wolf is saying, wow, that's awesome workmanship. And Samayed Sand says, wow, it could be a Cersei outfit. Actually, he does have a Cersei outfit here coming up. So this, actually, I think this is one of the first submissions you ever sent me, Aaron. This is a Cersei Lannister skirt. He actually, I remember this one. He made it out of 3 different fabrics. So this is one fabric here, and then another fabric there, and then another fabric. This, I love this fabric. And then he seamed it all together and put in an elastic waistband, which is that. And then this is actually a coronation gown that he made. It's like a gender bender one. And then what else is everyone saying? That's really pretty. Apple Field says, hi. Hi. Yeah, kind of laugh out loud. It's like, I like, what is Aaron saying here? Yeah, kinda laugh out loud. It's like of episodes of Hoarders. Is that what you mean about your sewing room? I'd love to see all the fabrics that you have. This one here is really pretty. So this one is a witch's skirt from Into the Woods. And he's got a couple of layers here. So he's got like multiple projects going on. Like he's a little bit like mad like a hatter when it comes to working on multiple costumes. Hey, Aaron? Oh, hi, Dee. Dee Nimmons here. Hello. How are you? Dee is one of my mentors, him and his brother, Nick. So nice to see you here, Dee. We're just doing a slideshow. We're going through some of the costumes that one of my viewers submitted to me. And here is, I think this is also, Aaron, I think this is also one of your witch's skirts here. And then this one, okay, this one is a dark fairy costume. And then we're going to see the design as well, which is really exquisite. So he's grommeted here. This is the side, actually, the side view, and then it's laced on, and then this is the collar. He's wearing it here in the front and here, and then you can see a close-up of the bodice as well, the side of the bodice. And Aaron can probably explain a little bit more on the details. And this must be the skirt part, right, Aaron? And then there's just the bodice itself with the collar. I love this. So here's his sketch of it. So now, Aaron, when you normally do this, do you do a sketch of this ahead of time, and then sort of create it after the fact? So he's got all the notes on the side. Meryl Streep had by far the best costume. Yes, absolutely. And Dee says those are actual GOT costumes. No, they're not. No, they're not. Dee, this is actually one of my viewers, Aaron. He's actually my mod in the chat. He created these. These are fan-made costumes. And here, look how great this is, guys. This is a Swan Queen ball gown costume design. And to my understanding, Aaron, you haven't actually made this yet, have you? Because I would love to see what this looks like eventually. And then, okay, now, guys, this is I have to show you this. So one of my viewers is Erin's aunt. Her name is Genevieve, and she is 96 years young. I think she's 96 or maybe 98. And this is a picture of her when she was a little girl dressed up like an angel. So this probably would be from, I don't know, like turn of the century. This is from a while ago, like the last century. And here, look how cute she is here with her little brother. And then this is what she looks like now. So I just want to do a huge shout out to Genevieve. She is my oldest, a lovely, she was a World War II nurse, and she gave Erin a lot of information about World War II nurses because I was doing some research on Outlander and I needed to know a little bit about that. So Erin did an interview with her. So let's see. Laura D says, a bunch of us thought In Deep Geek was live today and he wasn't. Laugh out loud. That's what happened. Oh, you thought he was going to be live today? In Deep Geek was actually on my stream. I think it was last Saturday. Is that correct? So guys, I'm going to go back to the camera here. Hi, I'm back. Hi, everyone. How are you all doing there in the chat? Are you doing okay? Dee says hi. That looked amazing. Okay, Erin, and one other thing. I missed a few of your costumes, so I'm going to have to... I was going through all of your submissions. My gosh, I think you've submitted like a ton of stuff to me. So what I'm going to do is I have to go through those. And there's a picture of Genevieve in the background. Everybody see, there she is. How cute is she? How adorable. I'm going to keep that on the monitor there. I can't really point at it. So that's Genevieve. She's my oldest viewer. And I really appreciate her and how lovely she is. So what we're going to do, Erin, is I found 2 other costumes that I realized just before I was about to go live. So I'm going to load those up next time. And maybe when I do Tatiana's costumes, we can go through those. But for any of you guys, if you want to look at the costumes, I've got them all on my Facebook page. It's in the link. It's in the description below, and you can go there and have a look at them. So what we're going to do now is if anybody has any questions, you want to ask any costume related questions. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about? Or we can talk about a show that everyone's interested in. So on Wednesday, for instance, we had Kristen Jones on and we talked about Outlander. And we also talked about the OA and she was Celine in Underworld. And then last Saturday, we talked about Westworld, and that was so much fun with Robert was our guest from Indie Geek. And then the week before, we had Justin Thomas from the Justin Thomas Show on, and we talked at great length about Westworld, but we also talked about Peaky Blinders. And what was the other show we talked about? We talked about the Borgias, which I have yet to see. So does anyone want to talk about a particular show that they're sort of really crazy about? And of course, if you guys follow me, you know that I just did a video about Black Panther, so we could even talk about that. So what happened there is I was really, really lucky. I got to interview the costume designer, and then I also did a dedicated video about Black Panther costumes. So because it's coming out on DVD and digital Blu-ray very shortly. So sorry guys, I'm just gonna go see where we're at here. Hold on a second. There we go. I'm just trying to get back to the chat. Here we go. So Laura G says, I already got that one. Dean Inman says, "Aw, they look amazing." And Erin LaFay says, "No, not yet." I'm not sure what that's in reference to. 95. Oh, she's 95. Genevieve is 95. She's not 96 yet. Sorry, Genevieve. How sweet and beautiful. Applefield says, "Hi, Heidi." Hi, Applefield. How are you today? And Holly waves. Hi, Holly. And Erin's welcoming everyone. Tribal Wolf Team says, "Have you ever done armor pieces?" Are you asking me if I've ever done armor pieces? I personally have not done armor pieces. There are people who specialize in that, but I have worked with people who do armor pieces. And, you know, they're done in different ways. Most of my background is in theater, technical theater. So, usually it could be like molded. It would be molded, like done in a positive and in a negative, and then cast in some way. Some of it is done like hammered metal. But generally there's people who specialize in armor. Armor doesn't oftentimes tend to fall under the type of wardrobe that I would have done. The type of wardrobe I would have done would have been like fabricated costumes. So things that would have been constructed from material. Then we would have a separate person do like makeup and hair. And then we'd have another person do hats called millinery. And then we'd have another person do maybe jewelry, and then another person do footwear. So what my area was, I kind of oversaw the department itself, and then and kind of brought it all together. So But we have a wonderful theater in Canada called the Stratford Festival, and they tend to do a lot of that type of a Renaissance type theater, like Shakespearean times. So they would definitely have armor. But I do have a lot of videos where I do, especially Game of Thrones videos, where I do go over the different types of armor that are used. And I have a great series on Game of Thrones where I concentrate on Westeros and Essos, and I talk about the different types of armor and the armors that are influenced. So if anyone wants to check those out, you know, I've always been really, really into military wear and military costumes. So I have a really big thing on that. So if you want to check that out. Let's see. Samiyad, I always say your name wrong. Samiyad Sand. Apparently, Peaky Blinders might be adapted into a ballet. Wow. So I'd love to see how they adapt the costumes for that. That would be really cool. Holly asks, have I ever done embroidery? Do you have a favorite style? I'm a novice. I'm a novice when it comes to embroidery. I do just a very, very simple, like, you know, I do satin stitch and straight stitch and just very simple stitches. Actually, I've been working on cross stitching. I've done some of that too. So very, very simple embroidery. I am by no means a great embroiderer. Are there a lot of, actually, I had the pleasure of interviewing the embroidery artist on Outlander, and she is an amazing artist, an amazing embroiderer. It's its own skill set. So I would encourage you. I have actually the interview with her on my Facebook page if anybody wants to see that. Let's see. What else have we got here? Dee says, I was about to sleep and noticed you were live. Oh, that's so sweet. Dee had threatened to unsubscribe me because I'm Canadian. I made a comment yesterday about being Canadian, and then, you know, Jason always teases, or at least the last time I spoke to him, he was teasing me because I apparently say a boot. And I have been teased a little bit about my accent before. And usually I just sort of laugh it off because I just say, hey, I'm Canadian. So that's sort of how we talk. Actually, you know, Canada's a really big country. So if any of you don't know about it, it's a massive country, but we only live in sort of one area, like along the border of the United States for the most part. And depending on what part of Canada you go to, there's regional accents, sort of like how it would be in England and the United States. So we have, you know, depending on the part of the country. So if you're in Newfoundland, you'd have a much different accent than if you were in Toronto or Montreal. I'm in Toronto, and we say Toronto. We don't say Toronto. That's like, that's weird to say that, just so you all know. Applefield says, you should try and interview the embroiderer of Game of Thrones. Their embroidery is unreal. Yes. I have not. Okay, so that's Michelle Carragher does the embroidery for Game of Thrones, and I have reached out to her, but I haven't heard back. But honestly, like, she's crazy busy. Like, she's, you know, she's like nut bar busy. It's the same with Michelle Clapton. But I have interviewed a lot of the artisans on Game of Thrones, so I do. A lot of them are really approachable and they are lovely. And so when I do reach out to them, they're oftentimes really, really great. But yeah, she's just super busy. Doing it, what Jason says, it's not about. It's not a boot. Oot and a boot is how we say it in Canada. Samia Sand says, how long does it take to become competent in any costume making aspect? Well, I would say it probably takes a long time. So, depending on your discipline. So, like, you know, like Kristen Jones, who was on the show with me on Wednesday, she had talked about how she's been basically sewing since she was, you know, young, like in high school. Same with me. So how I started, and actually I posted a picture, some of you might have saw, I posted a picture of myself dressed up as Princess Leia when I was 10. So that was really my first costume. But how I got into doing costumes is I was in home economics in the old days, like way back when. We used to have a program called Home Economics, and it would be specifically, you know, you do cooking and sewing would be where the girls would go, and then the guys would go off and do, you know, shop work or something like that, or auto mechanic work. And I know it sounds really sexist. They don't do it nowadays. But anyway, that's where I learned how to use the sewing machine and how to cut and work with a pattern. So that would have been in like a high school, not even high school, it would have been middle school. And then I got into a play. I was in the play. I was really into theater, interested in it. And they wanted me to wear this costume that I thought was just dreadful. And I said, there's no way I'm wearing that. You got to be kidding me. And they said, well, if you don't like it, you can make your own costume. And I said, fine, I will, because I have, you know, I'm a redhead and I have a lot of attitude. So I did. And it was Godspell. And that was my first real like theatrical costume I made. And then from there, I just sort of like, I started working in community theater, and I did a shout out to Rainbow Stage, was one of the first theaters I worked at in Winnipeg. And they're sort of like a middle of the road, like, you know, they're a professional theater, but they're summer stock theater. And so that's sort of how I got started. So you kind of have to have just like a real keen interest in it. You have to be sort of like, you know, really passionate about it. It would be anything. It'd be like writing. If you wanted to be a writer, you probably would always be writing. So it was the same with me. I was always drawing and creating, and then it wasn't until I got to university that I really, you know, honed the craft though. Like I picked up a lot of really bad mistakes along the way. I was doing some terrible construction techniques that many people fall into, pitfalls that we fall into as you're learning. So I had to kind of unlearn some of my skills and then relearn it properly. And the woman who was teaching me, she had actually worked at Stratford, which is, I think I mentioned earlier, is this big festival we have in Canada. It's probably, it's the oldest festival. Like, just to give you an example, Alec Guinness was the first actor to ever play there. This is before Star Wars, obviously, when he was a young man. But it's like, it's a coveted festival. Like, people come from all over the world to see it. So she had studied there, or she had worked there, I should say. So I studied under her, and she was like really, really hard nosed. Like, you imagine that, you know, typically hard nosed professor. That's what she was like, not wrapping my knuckles quite, but almost like that. And I had kind of a love-hate relationship with her. So I learned a lot from her. So I always say, when people want to know how do they get into something, they're, you know, either just start doing it, like get into a community theater, get into a amateur theater group, do something in high school, get involved in your theater program in high school, or, you know, go to college or university, or start reading books about it. Like, you just have to start doing it. It's kind of like YouTube, you know? Like, you know, you can't just talk about doing YouTube. You just have to do it. You just have to get in there and do it. So what's everyone saying here? The costumes in the movies Elizabeth 1 and 2 are exquisite and very complicated. Have you seen those movies? Which, do you mean Elizabeth, like in Elizabeth the Golden Age? Are those the ones you mean? Because there's been so many versions of it. Because if that's what you mean, yes, I have seen it. Samia San says, how long does it... Oh, you already asked me that. Tribal Wolf Team says, I don't have sewing machine, laugh out loud. How could I sew a costume without it? Well, you could hand sew it. Which is a skill set unto itself. Like, so for instance, on Wednesday, I was talking to Kristen Jones about making a costume. I want to make a Viking costume. So I'm planning on making a Viking kirtle, which is like a type of dress that a woman would wear back in the, like, you know, 1,000 years ago. And it would have been hand sewn. So you could definitely make something hand sewn and put it together. You also, I mean, I got this sewing machine here. I'm right here. I mean, they're not that expensive. You can get I mean, this one's probably a little bit more expensive because it's a heavy duty one, but you can get a domestic, which is like a non-industrial machine, for like $100, like on like Amazon. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I'm just saying you can, or, you know, at Walmart or wherever people go to buy less expensive items. So, that's one thing if you want. So you could, you know, and there's tutorials on doing hand sewing, lots of great tutorials actually on YouTube for hand sewing and finishing sewing. And Field says, there's a moose loose about the hoose. Yes, there is. So funny, guys. The costumes in the movie, oh, we already talked about that. Tribal Wolf, that sucks, but you could try hand sewing, says Aaron. Yeah, he says the same as me. And then Beauty in DeBerg says, I remember that class. I'm not sure. What did you mean there? Did you have a teacher like me? Genevieve hates that picture, laugh a lot. Oh, really? Oh, here, let me change it. Sorry, let me change Genevieve's picture. She doesn't like it. Let me go back. Is she okay with that one? Aaron, is she okay if I leave that one instead? You guys see, I have the tech going here, eh? Look at me. I'm so proud of myself today. I can change the monitor behind me. If D is still here, what do you think of my tech, D? I'm running OBS and a PowerPoint slideshow at the same time. Okay. The costumes on Rain were awesome. The plot, not so much. Says Golf Princess CL. Okay, well, have you seen my video on Rain that I did? Okay, what I did with that is, I mean, there were some aspects I didn't like, which I stated in the video, but I tried to look at the good things. One of them being that Megan Follows is in it. You know, she's Canadian, so that's really cool. But no, I like some of the later stuff, actually. Holly said, did anyone see the new King Arthur movie? I haven't seen it, but my husband saw it, and I think he really liked it. The costumes were great, but the movie was weird. Was it supposed to be artsy or something? Yeah, so I'll have to ask him about that. Woolworths patterns were the best back in the day. Oh my gosh, Woolworths. Laura, how old are you? Woolworths. Oh my gosh. Wow. They were good. You know, I don't know if you had this, but when I was a kid, we'd go to Woolworths and there was a counter there, you know, like an ice cream counter, like where they made food and stuff like that. We'd go sit at it, and as a kid, and it probably cost $0.25 or something to get like a milkshake. Gosh knows. Golf Princess CL. Holly, I agree. Dean Inman says, do you need an industrial machine do you mean to sew webbing? Okay, well, that's an interesting question, because so Kristen has the same machine as me, and she was on here on Wednesday, and she told me that she sewed through 3 thick layers of wool with that machine. Now, so D, you just need a special needle. So you might need a denim needle or just a heavy duty needle. So that's probably what it is, but I'm not sure what kind of webbing you mean. Maybe you can explain in the chat what you mean. Yes, Holly, laugh out loud. It was very strange. I got motion sickness. Okay, Aaron, not sure what you were talking about there. Not a lot of people understand a Guy Ritchie movie. Oh, was it a Guy Ritchie movie? Oh, okay. So King Arthur was a Guy Ritchie movie. Okay, so yeah, are you guys big fans of Guy Ritchie? By the way, I want to show you my Harrods mug. It's just to change topic. My husband brought this back for me from London. He was there for like a weekend, and he only got to go out of the conference to get me this mug. Isn't that lovely? Or actually, maybe he got it at the airport. But I like it because it's kind of like 3-dimensional. See that? I did have the good fortune of going to Harrods when I was in college. Actually, we went on a school trip. So that's another great thing about when I was in theater school. We got to go to London, and we got to see lots of productions, and we got to go see costumes, and it was a blast. I highly recommend looking at some of the costume collections in London and in Bath. So I'm taking a sip. Okay, where are we here? Applefield said, Applefied. So, you know, sorry, is it Applefied? Applefied? London, I live there. Hi, London. You must be excited. There's a royal wedding coming soon. Oh, D means the kind used for backpacks. Yes, absolutely. You don't need an industrial to do that webbing. No, I have sewed webbing on an industrial, but you can do a tack bar type thing on webbing. You just need a special needle, D, for that. So it's just an industrial needle. If you go to a sewing supply store, just tell them what you need it for, because otherwise it won't go through it. It'll get all bunged up or whatever. Oh my God, I will look for your videos about Rain. Thanks. Okay, but don't leave me a hate comment. I got quite a few angry comments on my Rain video, unfortunately. But you know, honestly, it's just my opinion. So that's all it is, right? As I say in the video, you know what, if you like the show, that's absolutely awesome. I don't have a problem with that. This is just what I think from a design point of view. And I'm not a historian. So, you know, sometimes I make comments about the history, but I'm not a historian. Just sometimes I think it sort of pulls you out of the story if you're watching a show and the costumes are not at all historically accurate like they were in at least season 1 for that. I went to the V&A Fashion versus Nature exhibition today. Oh, you did? So the V&A is the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, and it's fantastic. It was one of the first places I got to go see costumes at. And what's great about them is when I'm in Toronto, Canada, and I want to look at some costumes that are historical, I can go to their collection. It's all online. It's all digitized now. So you can go on there and search the collection, and it's really great. And then they have excellent explanations on there and so on. So it's one of my go-to places that I like to check out. Oh, Dee says, I need some sleep. So Dee is in Thailand, so I can't even imagine what time it would be there. It's probably like 9:30. Is it 9:30 a.m.? You haven't been to bed yet? Oh my God. Dee did a live stream with his brother today. Or it would have been, for me it was today, but for you it was last night. So he's been pulling an all-nighter, it sounds like. Well, good night, Dee. Thank you so much for coming. Oh my God, I'm so flattered you were here. And then you didn't unsubscribe me for being Canadian. That's wicked. Aaron Lefay says, Genevieve wanted to ask when the rest of the Outlander videos are coming back. Okay, so what happened? Oh my gosh, I'm being called out on this. Okay, so what happened was I was asked to do Outlander. So I started to do the Outlander costumes, and I did 4 of them, like 4 episodes. And then I just got to like number 5, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do an Outlander video again. So I'm going to be doing the one on Frank and Claire, just like from, you know, like the more 1940, I think it's 1943 period. So I still am planning on doing it. It's almost done. I just have to go back and finish it. And then after a bit more of a break, I'm going to go back and do season 2. So yeah, I am going to be doing, because, you know, she was helping me with the research on the nurses. So Erin, I will be going back to that. Is she watching right now? Can I do a shout? Hi, Genevieve, if you're watching. Oh my God, Rain, the costumes were beautiful. That's probably why the show was canceled. Yes, I remember the counter and the milkshakes. Ah, Laura's talking about Woolworths. We were talking about Woolworths earlier. They had these counters that you could go order milkshakes from. It was so much fun. She says, I'm not that old, but old enough to remember Woolworths. Applefied says it's 11:40 here in London. Yeah, so actually, so I know you guys are like 5 hours behind me. So a lot of times what I try to do is I'll do a 6 p.m. stream, and then that way, like for instance, Robert, who's from In Deep Geek, and he does Game of Thrones, and he does Westworld, you know, so when we do a stream together, it's 6 p.m. for me, but it's 11 p.m. for him, and then he's not up too late, except last time we went like 2 hours, so it was like 1 a.m. for him. So when Dee and Nick do a stream, like they're going till like 2 or 3 in the morning, I think. Golf Princess CL, no hate here, laugh out loud. I liked the first few seasons and loved all the costumes. Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Laura D says, I am a fan of Guy Ritchie movies for sure. Yeah. Now, have you guys seen Sherlock Holmes? Because Rachel McAdams, who's in that, she's from Toronto. And she used to live just in like one of the sort of the Bathurst and Bloor area, if anybody knows Toronto at all. So she's a Toronto gal. And she used to date Ryan Gosling. And they actually grew up in Ontario together. Like they were both born at the same hospital, and then they dated. Isn't that weird? And now they're both like in Hollywood. So that's kind of odd. Don't make me come to Canada, dear. You are too sweet to be spanked. Is Genevieve saying that, Erin, or are you saying that? And then Iron Throne says, go Canada, go! Woo! Yep. Do you have a favorite contemporary royal wedding dress? Oh my God. Well, I did get to see Lady Diana's dress. Years ago, there was an exhibit that came to Toronto. It was gorgeous, like really stunning. But I haven't seen the crown, but her wedding gown was really amazing. Is that what you mean by contemporary? Do you mean like something more recent? My wedding gown, this is really funny. So I had a friend of mine, she's like my oldest friend. She calls me up like the other day. She says, hey, Heidi, do you have any of those wedding gowns that you used to have? I used to have like a closet full of wedding gowns. Not because I was planning on getting married or anything, but just I would take them and then I would make them into other things. And so she had given me a bunch, but I had one left, like one that I had made into an angel. And then I had my wedding gown, which she had given me originally. So I said, well, if you want them, you can have them back. So so my original wedding gown, she'd bought at a store in Toronto, and she got it on sale for $20, and then I had it altered, and I paid $10 for that. So my wedding gown was like $30. How crazy is that, huh? But for my sister's wedding, we had a dressmaker make her. I had a dressmaker make my sister's wedding gown, so I didn't cheap out on my sister's wedding gown. But for me, I had a $30 wedding gown, and it was in my closet up until like yesterday. And then I sent it over to my friend, and she might use it for her friend's wedding. So isn't that a little bit? It's like good recycling, right? Oh, no, I haven't seen Phantom Thread. I will be seeing that. If any of you know me, I usually am like 6 months behind on video, on watching. So I just saw, for instance, you know, Black Panther, you know, I just reviewed it, and it'll probably be like 6 months from now before I see the next Marvel movie, because that's sort of how I roll, because I have 2 children and getting out of the house a lot of times is difficult. Like they're upstairs right now, probably destroying the house. Or actually, I usually keep them in a cage during the live streams, and then I throw some bread in there. And they're usually good for a couple hours. You know, they can handle it. They don't, you know, I sometimes let them have a 3DS or something. Goddess131 says, hi, thanks for doing another hangout. Oh, my pleasure. This is great. Oh, I was going to tell you guys. So this weekend, we're doing the hangout, and the next weekend I'm not going to, because it's my anniversary. So we're going to do something hopefully fun. So I'm not going to do a live stream next weekend, but I will be doing one the following week. So the goal is to do a live stream every Saturday at 6 p.m. EST, or in England, that would be 11 o'clock. Or in Thailand, it would be like 5 in the morning. I think we came up with that, right? Goddess131 says, best price for a wedding gown. I know. Now that was 12 years ago, 13 years ago, because it's going to be a 13 anniversary. Lucky 13. And Goddess131 says, I love Phantom Thread. I would watch it in the movie theater again. Yeah, I really want to see it. I don't know. It was kind of crazy. I'm hoping that one day when my kids are older, I'll actually be able to go see a movie on an opening weekend. Like, this hasn't happened to me. I haven't seen it. Oh, you know what? We did actually, I lie. We went to see that new Spielberg movie with my kids on the opening weekend, but that was only because they wanted to go. Like I said to them, do you want to go see Phantom Thread or Phantom Menace? And they're like, nah. And so my husband and I had to go by ourselves. Oh, I haven't seen Call the Midwife. I've heard it's really great. That's from Golf Princess CL. I haven't seen it, but it looks really good. Guys, if you have any shows that you want me to look at, if you leave them in the chat, I'll go through the chat later, and then I'll add them to my list. But for sure, I probably will be doing Phantom Thread, because that's it won an Academy Award. Am I wrong? And then Holly says, Rain was fun to watch, though. Very entertaining. No expectations going into it. I love that they recycled a Tudor character. So if you don't know this, they're actually doing a new Mary Queen of Scots movie. It's going to be coming out, I think it's coming out in like a month. And the woman who's directing it, it's a female director and a female costume designer, and it's going to be with Suarez Ronan. Is it Suarez? How do you say it? Suarez? And she's going to be playing Mary Queen of Scots. Oh, happy anniversary. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's 13. Oh my gosh, I have to double check. It's crazy. I can't even believe it's been 13 years. Doesn't feel like it. Like Jack, my husband, he's the one who helps me with all my tech. Like, so he was in here beforehand helping me, because I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff otherwise. Oh, thanks, guys. Sin City has great costumes. Yes, absolutely. I love Sin City. And The Watchmen as well. Yeah. Awesome. That's Holly says that. Let's see. You guys are all talking about Rain still in here, right? So does anybody have any costume questions, though? The other thing I was going to tell you guys this week, you know, I had Kristen Jones on here on Wednesday talking about Outlander, and through Kristen and the Outlander group that's on Facebook that I put a link in the description about, I was able to order this really beautiful shawl from this woman. She has a company called Two Silver Cats, and how I met her is I interviewed the gentleman who designed the Outlander tartan for the series, and he's actually in Vancouver, Canada. Like, he used to have a mill in Vancouver, but now what they did is he designed the tartan, and then they had the fabric made over in Scotland. So him and Jennifer, this other girl, they designed a series of Outlander tartans, and then they sell them to the public. So she mailed me my shawl this week, and I'm so excited. I got a picture with it, so I'm going to put that up later on social media. But I wanted to wear it today, but honestly, it's just so warm today. So as you see, I'm kind of like, I'm a little bit dewy here, you know. I couldn't actually wear it. I probably would have been stifled, but it's stunning. Like, it's really long, and it's probably, I think it's made like with maybe 3 yards, but the tartan that it is, if any of you have seen Outlander, it's the one where she goes through the stones. So it's that one. So it's a reproduction of it, but it's made in Scotland, and it's designed by this fellow who actually did the tartan for Outlander. And the other cool thing about him, his name is Gordon, is that he worked on the original Battlestar Galactica series. So if any of you guys are into science fiction, which of course you know I'm into science fiction big time. So what else do we have here? Did you see the ITV Weather? Is it Wuthering Heights you mean, with Tom Hardy? The movie was from the POV of the children of the main characters and Nellie. Oh no, I haven't seen it. I read Wuthering Heights when I was in high school, but I don't think I've actually seen a film adaptation of it. They're doing a sequel series to The White Queen, The White Princess called Spanish Princess, based on Catherine of Aragon, Henry VIII's first wife. Oh, so is that by the same author that you're talking about there? Sorry. And how many times did they change clothes in one episode? Laugh out loud. No wonder the kingdom was broke. What are you talking about there? What are you talking about there, Gulf Princess? Were you talking about Rain again, or were you talking about the White Queen? Saoirse Ronan. Is that, how do you say it? She was in Lady Bird, which was a great movie also. Yes. I have not seen it either, Costume Co. Are you a fan of Poldark? No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that one, sorry. Is it on Netflix? Genevieve is drinking all of her tea from her Costume Co. cup. Laugh out loud. She loves it. What is the Costume Co. cup? What are you talking about? Where did you guys get that? Did you guys get her a Costume Co. cup? I'm drinking from my Harrods cup. Genevieve, see what I'm drinking from? It's got the Tower of London on it. Isn't it pretty? It's embossed. Like, see how it is? Yep. Samayed San says, I never understood why film, TV weren't made about Catherine of Aragon. She had such an interesting life, and definitely the most interesting of Catherine VIII's wives. Now, are any of you in the chat, do you watch The Tudors? I've only seen season 1. I'm just wondering what everyone's thoughts on The Tudors are. Applefied says, it's from the same author and being made by Stars again. Okay, yeah, so my sister's read all of those books. She's, what's the name of the author? I'm not familiar. I think it's Saoirse. Is that how you pronounce her name? I don't know. I'm so terrible, and I'm part Irish. I should know how to say her name. Just curious, did you see the animated Game of Thrones history and lore? I've watched them all on YouTube. Oh, no. I'd like to see that. Would you be able to send me a link for that, Goddess? I'd love to see that. Was it, so it's a YouTube series? Are actors and actresses sewn into their clothes still? Is there a benefit to doing that? No, they're not. They're not sewn into their clothes. So, there's usually some type of fastener, and then if it's if they have to get in and out of it quickly, it's called quick rigged. So that's how they get in it. But you know, technically speaking, they usually just wear regular, like if it's just a contemporary show, they're just going to wear like clothes just like the way anybody else would wear it. But if it's a historical thing, then they would be fastened in it the way of the time. So it would be like if it had grommets, they would be laced in it. If it had a zipper, they'd be zipped in it. If it was hooks and eyes or snaps or domes, that's how they would get in and out. Philippa Gregory, yes, thank you. Yes, I've seen The Tudors. Season 4 was my personal favorite. Okay. I feel so behind on everything. Oh my gosh. What else have we got here? I have not seen The Tudors yet. Do people here like it? Well, I think it like okay, the one like we had it in Canada, we had it on the CBC. It was sort of like they did like a co-pro thing with it. So, but in Canada it was hugely successful, and I was just like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, I don't know, it doesn't look, because I tended to watch more of the BBC type, A&E type shows. So I just didn't think it was that good. But then I started watching it. It was actually, there was a lot of aspects of it that were pretty accurate. I mentioned in my video on Rain that they had actually used a lot of the costumes from Elizabeth R, which was the BBC production of Elizabeth I's life. And it was like, at the time, it was, with Glenda Jackson, it was the most historically accurate show of the time that had been done about a historical figure, and they'd created her costumes based on the paintings of Queen Elizabeth. So the show The Tudors, they actually used a lot of the costumes that had been made by the BBC for that. So a lot of them are historically accurate. Now some of them aren't, like some of them, I don't know, some of them are kind of just crazy. Like the ones in that one dance scene where the girls are all wearing ruffs with corsets. I mean, they wouldn't have worn that. That was just way out there. Hey, A-Mule's here. Hi, how are ya? Laura says, I'm very excited about Mary Queen of Scots movie. Margot Robbie, sorry, and I can't say her name, are in it. Fantastic. So have you seen the pictures of Elizabeth, though? Have you seen Margot Robbie in that movie? Like I tweeted at one of the pictures. It was, I mean, one of the ones that's on IMDb of her looks really, really good. And Caesar, who's one of my viewers, he adores both of those actors, and thought the costume looked really, really good. But as far as some of the design aspects, it's really, really out there. It looks kind of steampunk. But the costume designer is the same one who did Elizabeth and Elizabeth Golden Age. So she knows a thing or two about the period. So it'll just be interesting to see what happens with that in the context of it. Tudors was very good. Natalie Dormer was the best. Yes, we love Natalie Dormer. Don't we? Yeah, I have a video actually on Marjorie Tyrrell's costume, or Tyrell, however you want to say it. I have a video on her costumes, so if anyone wants to check that out, her costumes were just stunning in both the Tudors and in Game of Thrones, as far as I'm concerned. Did you know that Sandy Powell had to make majority of the costumes for the other Boleyn girl because the Tudors had rented everything? Haha, yeah. But you know what? Honestly, like most designers, if they had their way, and if they won't rent costumes if they can have their way. Like if they have enough budget, they don't want to rent the costumes. They would rather have everything made from scratch or bespoke or whatever, because that way they can actually realize their design. I actually watched a really great interview with Anne Crabtree. And she's the costume designer on The Handmaid's Tale, but she also did season 1 of Westworld. And she talks about that, and she says, it's impossible to get, it's impossible to get the look that you want, that you're going for, if you have to rent or you have to buy things off the rack. Like you're going to get the look you want if you're able to create it from scratch. So, Sandy Powell was probably delighted that she was able to make everything and not have to, rent it. Renting is kind of like a last resort. I shouldn't say a last resort. It's not a last resort. Renting is something that you do if you have limited budget or time constraints. But, renting can be good in terms of the background characters. But in terms of principal characters, I think most designers would always prefer to build it. Okay, so Holly says, I'm very excited. I'm excited too. I love the one with Glenda Jackson and Vanessa Redgrave. Yeah. Elizabeth R is one of my favorite. So the only problem with Elizabeth R, if anybody ever wants to look it up, I think it's more like a teleplay. So it's shot on, I think it's shot on like high grade video. It's not on film, and I think it's all done in a studio. So it's really, really interesting. But in terms of the historical accuracy, it's really great. And there's a lot of behind the scenes of it too, I've seen. So it was one of the things that we looked at when I was in theater school. Good. I'm actively waiting for Westworld. Season 2, episode 3. Oh, this is Ian Trone saying. So tomorrow, for all of the Westworld fans, we're, you know, highly anticipating episode 3. It's coming out tomorrow at 9 p.m. So everyone's getting excited about that. Holly says she's excited too. Poldark is on channel 13. I don't know what that is. Is that in, what country is that? We don't have channel. You know what? Honestly, guys, I don't even watch TV anymore. This is really weird. So in Canada, we have cable that's run by 2 companies. And it's like a monopoly. And I quit both companies years ago and went completely off grid. If you, I don't know what the expression is, but we just do like we did. It had a digital box and antenna. Like we have an antenna. So I'm completely off TV. I don't watch any TV. I'm not a purist or anything. I just don't. And then so I either watch through Netflix or I stream it. So that's how I do it. So I don't have I don't watch regular TV. And it's actually kind of freeing because then you don't have to deal with commercials and stuff. What else is here? Have you seen Da Vinci's Demons? If so, what are your thoughts on the costumes? Thanks. No, I haven't seen it. So what is that? Is that like, is that, I don't know what it is. Is it a drama? Can you tell me what that is, Laura? And then Erin says, I have never seen The Tudors, but Genevieve loves it so much, and she has such a crush on Henry Cavill. And then he says, I don't blame her. Henry Cavill, I've only seen season 1 of The Tudors, but Henry Cavill, who plays Superman as well, oh my gosh, yeah, he's like pretty stunning. And it's weird because he's like got like his head is sort of shaved, like it's really short. And then he ends up taking up with this woman who is supposed to be Henry VIII's sister, but it's played by Gabrielle Anwar, who's like 20 years older than the actress, than the character was supposed to be. It was really, like, really weird, that whole thing. That was kind of bizarre. Gabrielle Anwar. And she's really tanned, which, you know, British women wouldn't have really been tanned. They would have been quite fair. Death Comes to Pemberley is a good movie. Jane Austen meets Sherlock Holmes. Ooh, that sounds really good. Flash in Your Pan says, I don't watch TV either. Yeah. Good job there, Flash in Your Pan. Lego My Ego. Oh, that's a fun name. Cord cutting. Is that what it's called? Yeah, cord cutting. Well, in Canada, like I said, we had like, because our the people who run our cable and our TV up here, we don't have the same type of competition available that they do in the States. So it's like they run the TV, they run or the cable, they run the phone, they run the internet. So I found an alternative internet provider because it's just ridiculous how much they charge you. So we just kind of went completely cord cutting, as you mentioned. Do you have a Golf Princess CL says, do you have a favorite period or style? Well, I do really like the Jane Austen period, actually, we were just talking about. So that's early 1800s. I love that, like that empire, like that really high waistline. What else do I like? I sort of like, I love turn of the century, like sort of late 1800s. Like I did a video on Penny Dreadful. I love that period, like that sort of, like they call it, it's sort of Edwardian, like just late Victorian, early Edwardian, just that sort of turn of the century style. I love that period of time. So, and a lot of shows actually are set in that time, so it's really good. And then Amiel says, Da Vinci's great on Stars. Oh, okay. Beauty and DeBerg says, in movies, for example, Victoria, where they wear those beautiful dresses, would they have to wear the underskirts? They look too heavy. They look heavy. Yes, they would have to wear everything. So what you're talking about, actually, when Kristen was on here on Wednesday, she was wearing a full 18th century costume, like 1750 from Outlander. And so we were talking about the undergarments. So a woman at the time would have worn a chemise, then she would have worn a corset, and then she would have worn like a corset cover and a petticoat, and then the gown, and she might have worn an underskirt too. So but because to get that proper silhouette, you have to wear the foundation garment. So I've done some period shows, period productions, so generally speaking, it just sort of makes you stand differently. It makes you carry yourself differently in your costumes. And the costumes would just sort of cave in on themselves if they didn't have that proper support under them. So yeah, absolutely you have to. But, you know, Kristen was saying like she wears her stays, which is like an earlier version of a corset, and she'll wear them to an event, and she says that it's actually quite comfortable. You know, we don't have, our bodies haven't been trained the same way they would have been back then, when women would have been wearing corsets from a very young age. But she says it's actually, she really kind of enjoys it. It gives, and it's really flattering. It's a really flattering silhouette. Did Victorian men really wear corsets? Well, no, not all of them. I mean, I'm not completely familiar with that, but you're talking about like corset training, reducing their waist. So no, majority of them wouldn't have done that. But there were some that would have, maybe more like the dandy type men. I'm not a complete expert on that, but that's sort of what I'm saying off the top of my head. Oh, Lego My Ego says, I know, right? The Gabrielle Anwar thing was crazy. Yeah, she was like, I think she was like in her early 40s, and she's supposed to be playing a woman like, you know, 18 or something, the one that marries Henry Cavill. But at least they opted to cast a seasoned actress. Absolutely, that's true. PBS here in the States. Okay. Samiyad Sand says, in the Victorian age, there were 14 layers of clothing for women. Madness. Well, I think it depends. So yeah, so you'd have like the shift and the corset cover and the crinoline, and then you might have the cane, you might have the pannier, or sorry, you might have the bustle, depending on what period it is, and then an overskirt. So yeah, there would be quite a few layers for sure. Flash in your pan. I wonder what a steampunk prospector costume would look like. Ooh, yeah. Actually, that would probably be a really cool costume, I would think. What period are you talking about, Flash in your pan? Are you talking about sort of like the gold rush period? Because, you know, my parents actually went up to the Yukon, and they, on a vacation. And if you go up there, they have actually like saloons, and they have the town and everything is sort of done like old time sort of that period, turn of the century, I guess. And people dress up in costumes. So it's pretty cool. So you can go to the saloon. They have saloon girls, and then you have the barman, you know, with the armbands and the hats and everything. So a steampunk version usually just would have, you know, be incorporated some mechanical leathery bits, I would assume. There's a steampunk group called, it's a Canadian one. It's Steampunkers. What is it called? I'll have to look it up and find it for you. But you could probably ask that question. But that would really be fun if you did that. Well, you've seen Toy Story. So Prospector, you know, Stinky Pete, he's a prospector. He's kind of dressed like, they kind of dress him a little bit more like a hillbilly, I think, though. I would love to do a costume from the TV show Once Upon a Time, but they're just too many. Which character? Like Regina? Erin, would you like to do Regina? She's probably a pretty cool one, right? Her stuff is crazy. It's pretty out there. That's another show that was good the first few seasons, but the costumes are great. Sorry, I'm not sure what show you guys are talking about. 1800s, yes, is Flash in the Pan. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll look into that for you, okay? I'm going to look into that for you. In the show Turn, Anna Strong wears her stays and pockets on the outside of her clothes. With that normal, I thought they were considered undergarments. Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that you see in a lot of designs. They'll do that. They'll take, you know, like it's like wearing your undergarments on the outside of your clothes. There was a fashion that went on for a while, maybe because of Madonna, but no, absolutely they would not have done that. So, but a lot of designers just like to break the rules and do something. I guess they think it's kind of fashion forward or risky or something, but no, they would not have done that. They would always have worn that underneath, and their pocket protectors as well. Please tell me you have seen the new Jane Eyre with Mia Wasikowska. Yes, I saw it. I have seen it, but it was a while ago. It's not that new, I don't think, right? Amy Packmeal. I'll do whatever you'd like. Costume Co. wants to know what Da Vinci's Demons is about. Oh, she's asking AU to explain that. For the Once Upon a Time, I would like to do the Dark Fairies costume, but I will crossplay it. Which season is that, Aaron? Because I think I've only seen 3 seasons, so I'm not familiar with who that is, the Dark Fairy. Is that, was that in a later season? Jane Eyre, one of my favorite movies, the exquisite music, it is absolutely mesmerizing. I have to re-watch that. I know I did do a video on Crimson Peak. Have you guys seen that? Has anybody seen Crimson Peak with Mia Wasikowska? So I did do that. I did do that video, and the costumes in that are absolutely amazing. And the costume designer from that, she's from New Zealand, and she also did Crimson, what is it? It's like a science fiction one that was shot in Toronto, but I can't remember what it's called. So guys, if there are any more questions, because I'm going to be wrapping up here soon. Oh, Aaron says that, oh, Sir Applefield says the Dark Fairy was season 6, so I haven't seen it. I don't know it. Aaron, maybe you can send me a picture of that so I can see it. The last one, I won't spoil it. So you guys have anything else you want to ask? So I'll just let you know what's coming up. So I have, so this week I put out 2 videos on Black Panther. I have a 3rd one to finish, just the part 2 of the Black Panther series. And then that'll be coming out this week. I also, as Aaron had mentioned to me, I have to finish the Outlander one. So I'll have that hopefully coming out in the next few weeks. I also have American Gods part 2 coming out. So I did the part 1 of that for season 1. So that's going to be coming out. And then, gosh, I have to do a Game of Thrones one. Like it's been ages since I've done a Game of Thrones one. So hopefully I'll, maybe do, maybe you guys can tell me what you think. But I haven't done Arya Stark yet. I haven't done Varys yet. I kind of did Jon Snow sort of intermittently, sort of throughout the other ones. So but technically I haven't done a dedicated video to him, and I wanted to finish up Essos, so I haven't done the Dothraki. I haven't done a couple of the other regions. So you guys can let me know what you think about that. So do we have any other questions? So that's what I have coming up. Like I said, next Saturday I won't be doing a stream because of the anniversary that I have coming up. So I will do one the following week. So I'm not sure which date that is. Which date is this? Let me see. So next Saturday is the 12th. So the 19th will be the one the next stream will be. And then, but I'm hopefully going to, or actually I'm not even 100% sure. I'm going to check with Tatiana. I'm going to probably do a midweek stream with her so we can go through her costumes, because she sent me, I don't think I have like, she did some designs for a play that she was interested in, and plus she's done a lot of Game of Thrones ones for me. So Penny Dreadful was very dark. I watched it, but Laura says, oh, so AU wants me to do the Alienist. Yes, you've been asking me that for ages. Yes, of course. Flash in Your Pants says, I liked Penny Dreadful. Good series. Yeah, I liked it too. I loved it a lot. Oh, Da Vinci's Demon is about Da Vinci and the I would say this wrong. Is it Medici? Medici bankers during the Battle of the Italian city-states against the Vatican. And then Samad San says, Crimson Peak costumes were great, but wasn't impressed by the plot. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Guillermo del Toro. I don't think it got the greatest reviews, but yeah, the costumes are, it's Kate, is the name of the costume designer. I forgot her last name. Yeah, Laura says, Penny Dreadful was very dark. Oh, and Beauty and DeBerg says, bye, everyone. Really enjoyed this. Thank you. And Holly says, I didn't make it far into Penny Dreadful. I liked what I saw watching Peaky Blinders ATM with the hubby. Awesome. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap things up here. I hope you guys are, have some nice plans for the weekend, and hopefully some nice weather. We've been having, I got a little bit of color today. Just so I'm doing like, it's a little bit pink, because I'm a freckle face. So I got a bit of color today, just going out for a walk with the family. So anyway, well, I want to thank everyone for coming, as always. You guys are awesome, and I love talking costumes with you all. And I'm hoping to have some more guests, because that was really fun. So I had, I had Robert, and I had Justin, and then I had Kristen this week. I'm hoping to have another cosplayer. There's another cosplayer I'm going to approach about doing, and she does, her name is Socialist Revolutions, the name of her her Facebook page, and she does really, really amazing work. So I'm hoping to talk to her. And I also want to talk to another, there's another channel where he reviews movies. So I was thinking of doing a channel, a video with him, sorry, live streaming with him, where we can talk about some different movies that he's into and I'm into as well. So, anyway, thank you so much, guys. Erin, thank you so much, and allowing me to share your beautiful work. And I'm going to find the other pictures and hopefully share those next time. And also just, for, running the show in the chat for me. You always do such a great job, and you're always so gracious and everything. And I hope if Genevieve is watching, well, I say hello to her, obviously. And if she's not, can you just tell her I say hi? And sorry, I have that picture of her back up again. I know she doesn't like that picture. Sorry, Genevieve. How did that happen? I thought I changed that. Let me change it. There we go. I'll put the other picture back. Or actually, we can put this one of her in her angel costume. So, guys, thanks so much. Have a great weekend. And like I said, I'll see you in like a couple of weeks. Unless I do that midweek one, I'll try to announce it out to you. So, and take care, everybody. Okay, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.